Welcome to Built for This. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe. My podcast features captivating conversations with intriguing people who have found purpose in their lives through their career, family, or life experiences, and just why they were built for this. Through the stories that you will hear, I trust that you will be inspired and encouraged to find just what you were built for. So let's get started. And welcome into the studio for another edition of Built for This. And today, we're going to get you organized in your life and at your house. I have the CEO and the founder of Organize 365. She's also the author of this book, Escaping Quicksand, 10 great tips here. But Lisa Woodruff is my guest today. And Lisa, thanks so much for jumping on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll talk about quicksand in just a minute. But I know there was a couple of defining moments, or maybe one defining moment in your life when all of a sudden you realized, I think I'm a professional organizer, a functional organizer. And how did that come about? Because we all feel like we're organized, or maybe we're very disorganized. But how did that happen for you?
Yes, often when we are at our lowest low, we find out that we have some uniqueness that we can hold on to and helps pull us out of the quicksand. And that's the case for me. As I was turning 40 and everything in my life was falling apart, I quit my job and I came home and I started getting my home organized, and I joined another direct sales company. I've been part of 23 direct sales companies. So I joined another one and I started doing the little home parties like you do. And I was representing a company that sold containers. It was called acrylic containers to organize your house. And truth be told, I don't have matching containers at my house. I use whatever is available.
Right.
But I mean, I'm doing these shows and I used to be a teacher. So I'm sharing all these different ways that you can use these different products. And I was a couple months into this and I had 25 people in this woman's living room. And I said, Maria, what are these people doing here? Because if you know anything about direct sales, people don't like to go to direct sales parties, and they're there for the food. They're not there for whatever you're selling. And these people were like with rapt attention, not talking to each other, listening to every single thing I had to say. And I was like, Maria, why are they here? And she said, well, Lisa, everyone wants to know what a professional organizer has to say. And I was like, I'm a professional organizer? She goes, of course you are. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized I had been, selling my services and getting people organized in their homes, but I didn't know that's what it was. I thought I was just helping them out for, $100 here, $100 there. Oh, yeah. I'll come over. I'll give you some tips. Oh, I'll just do it for you. Just pay me, what I would earn as a cleaning lady or tutoring money, stuff like that. And so that was really the pivot when I was like, oh, maybe how I am selling these products, or maybe how I see a household is a little bit different than how other people do. Maybe I'm a professional.
And I was really interested when I was going through your book and something that you said just there at the start, that perhaps our organization and our maybe disorganization in our lives and our home can many times be traced back to some traumatic experience or something that we're dealing with on the sub-level that's either preventing us from getting out of this rut. Is that what you have found so many times with people that you've worked with?
Yes, I think now that I've been doing this for decades, and now that I'm out of my active parenting years, I think that's crucial. Like when you are raising little humans, it's like never ending, right? So now that my kids are grown, have grandchildren, and I can kind of look back on hindsight, I realize, the reason why we as humans get overwhelmed and disorganized in our lives is because our households are microeconomies, but we don't run them that way. We just say it's home. When we get home, like get your chores done and then you could go out and play. Yeah. So as adults, we're like, get the dishes done, start the laundry, and then we can read a book. Like we could do something fun. But the truth of the matter is it takes 20 to 40 hours a week to run a household, not including parenting. And we don't account for how much time that is. Yeah. And so we're trying to just check things off the to-do list or shove things under the bed and get them done really quick so we can go out and play. And if you do that and you don't set up good operating systems like you would in a regular enterprise, you end up with more load than you can handle, and your to-do list is never done. And you get to the point where you go, well, what the heck? Like if all I'm ever going to do is a to-do list for the rest of my life, like I don't want to live this way. I can't handle this much work because you haven't operationalized anything. You haven't put any systems in place. You're just trying to get the work done as quickly as possible so you could do something fun.
Let's talk about time. When you do, I know that's one thing that you focus on in your book too, is that when you get more organized in your life and then in essence in your home or vice versa,
Yeah.
it frees up time. And so how is that a real beneficial thing for a person in their health or welfare, wellness, when you can have your own personal time because you're not sticking another load of laundry in the washing machine?
Yeah, so our own personal time to pursue whatever we're uniquely gifted and created to do, whatever hobbies light us up, allow us that, I just call it putzing around the house time, where I'm just like putzing around the house and you get new ideas for business, or you think,
Hmm.
oh, I should call this person, or, just the spontaneity of life. Like it's this little spark that keeps us happy and keeps us going. And when you don't have it and you can't find it, then I think we get depressed and we get very stressed out because we just can't get our work done in order to have that time. And I'll just speak for myself personally, like you don't want to create KPIs in your household. You don't want to like optimize your to-do list so you can get more done in less time like you would at work at home. Like we're supposed to be able to just be ourselves at home, right?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is at work, if you just go into work the next day and you just like do anything you want when you want, you would never do that because it's not profitable and it's not productive.
Hmm.
Same at home. Like, in work, if you organize the night before your actionables of what you're going to do the next day, make sure you have all the logins for all the meetings, make sure you printed off whatever you need to print off, make sure you're wearing whatever you need to be wearing for whatever meetings you're in. You come in the next day organized, purposeful, planned, ready to go, right?
Right.
Same thing at home. If you can put that planning in place at home, yes, you still need to get the work done, but you'll get the right work done in the right order and you'll save yourself a lot of time. That is where leisure time comes from. We think that just being spontaneous and kind of checking a few things off here and there is where we get leisure time, but we don't. We get it from being very purposeful with our
Hmm.
time.
What about the people that kind of approach it and say, "Oh boy, I get up and I look at my house and things are all over the floor and the kids have left everything," and
Yeah.
it just hit this huge roadblock, and they immediately kind of fall into that. Oh, I just don't have time to do it. I don't have time to do this and that, and can't seem to get out of the quicksand to do it. What's the best way to meet that head on and start? At least got to start somewhere to get organized.
Yeah, so we live in a multi-generational family. Our daughter and our two grandsons live with us,
Right?
4 and 5 months old. So we've got stuff everywhere. Like,
Yes.
and I just feel for my daughter as a single mom. She is trying her hardest, but I mean, the 5 month old never wants to be put down, and the 4 year old has energy to spare, and nobody is sleeping. And so she is just exhausted, right? So you
Yeah.
may be in that phase of life. Or you may be in the phase of life that my husband and I are in. We're living in a multi-generational family. We're both working full time. He has some caregiving responsibilities for his mom. So yeah, sure, we go upstairs at 7 o'clock at night. No one's demanding our time except for the dog. And we have some more say over how we spend our time. But we're pulled in a lot of directions with our kids, parents, grandkids. Financially, we're being stretched in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
And so when you recognize the constraints and the limitations of your phase of life. Is it physical? Like with my daughter, she just literally is exhausted and doesn't have the minutes to pick up. Or is it more, emotional and planning on my husband and we're handling a lot of multi-generational cognitive things, not necessarily the
Right.
physical responsibilities. Then you come back to yourself. And I will always tell you that when you are feeling disorganized, when you're feeling pulled and there's not enough time for you, I want you to think about you. What would support you in this moment? And usually it's not doing the dishes or picking up the toys or starting another load of laundry. Like you will get to that. Everyone will have underwear. Also, you could just buy more underwear, just saying,
Yeah.
or use paper plates
Yeah.
if you're in a really busy phase of life. But I find for myself when I get really, really overwhelmed, I go in my closet and I kind of pull out a couple things I can declutter, straighten everything up. Last Sunday, I ironed everything that wasn't ironed in there. So everything's ready to go. Everything that's going to support me and
Hmm.
taking care of my family so that I'm ready to go, even if my house doesn't look picture perfect. Because none of our houses look picture perfect,
Right.
by the way. It's not a thing. We think it's a thing, but it's not a thing, Brian. It's not a thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in that part about self-care and looking at yourself because it seems like certainly at the house and the mother, the wife, if it maybe feel like that's okay on their load. Obviously, fathers and husbands do a part too. However, the majority of it will fall onto the female of the house. I mean, I think everybody can probably agree with that. So how does someone in that position? It seems like you're always like, well, like you just were talking about. I got to take care of the kids. I got to make sure they're ready, and is this ready? And you're always looking after everyone else. And guess who gets left not taken care of? It's it's you, it's me. You kind of alluded to it a little bit there, but some steps that we can take at home in an organizational sort of way that's going to look after myself first before I can even think about taking care of someone else.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I will speak from a female point of view because I'm not a man.
Sure.
And academia will show that women do more, especially of the invisible work at home, even as men are starting to more equitably share in the physical load, as my husband does more physical work at home than I do.
Yeah.
So I'll give you 3 examples. When my kids were little, I was a stay-at-home mom. Best decade of my life. It's all I ever wanted to be was a mom. Loved being a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So self-care at that point was when my husband came home from work, he always did bath time. And I love a bath. So we'd start the kids' bath. He would do bath time. I would go take my bath by myself. And then I would come back out and we'd divide and conquer and each put a different kid to bed. So that was a little bit of time where I was like off the clock. Then when my kids were in high school, I was driving them all the way over everywhere. And I was also running my professional organization business. I was driving 25 hours a week.
Oh.
I abdicated my role of food.
Yes.
I did not do this nicely. It wasn't like thought out. There was no like conversation between my husband and I. It was a Tuesday night. I just said, I don't go to the grocery store anymore. He said, what do you mean you don't go to the grocery store anymore? Because he comes home and he eats lunch at home. And I was like, look, we're eating all fast food. I buy the food, I throw it away. I'm not even good at the grocery store. Like, I just don't have time for it. And he said, well, how are we going to have food in the house? And I said, well, you have a car, you have a credit card, and you know where the grocery store is.
Yeah.
For the last decade, I have not done grocery shopping. My husband does all the grocery shopping. So that's one way in which I stopped doing something, not nicely, I guess, but it worked.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. Now, what self-care looks like in a multi-generational household is that I have the choice of how much parenting I do of the grandchildren. My daughter doesn't ask me. I'm not overly, I always ask permission when I watch the grandchildren or support them or sign them up for things. So I came home the other night and the baby is not sleeping ever. My daughter is exhausted. And I came home and I was like, I would really like to go upstairs and just work on a hobby project. And I took one look at her and I was like, you know what's in the best interest of the family is I held the baby for a little bit. And then I took the 4-year-old up and we spent 90 minutes upstairs doing the bath and having the popcorn. And we're recording this in June. Yes, we're watching Frosty the Snowman because that's what we do with Grandma and Grandpa. Okay. So we own the movies. We're watching. And I took him down ready for bed and gave her that break. And then my husband and I watched TV. So sometimes self-care is putting your own needs before other family members' needs. In this case, my daughter is a single mother, so she doesn't have anybody to advocate for her self-care.
Yeah.
So I gave up some of my care time in order for her to have some care time and take care of the child. And I think that when you start thinking about your season of life, who has capacity, who has bandwidth, who has knowledge in the situation, it can be anything, financial time, emotional time, sleep time, looking at all those different things that make us whole and really collectively working together as a family to make sure that everybody gets enough of what they need in order to be whole.
What about systems? I mean, I know you're a big believer in systems and specifically things, journeys and paths to go down. And there's a lot of us are out that says, oh, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing 10 minutes from now, or I don't know what I'm going to be doing this afternoon or at work. How could I possibly plan something? But the importance that you see in having in place family or organizational systems at home and how that can really benefit the rest of the day or the rest of the week in a person's life.
Yes, we're talking about functional systems that reduce decision-making load. So we're not looking at like everything is rigid and you have to follow the rules and these are the rules and we're going to go over them every day. But we're thinking about in business, when you do things a couple of times, it's good to write down how you do that. So if anybody else needs to do it for you, they can do it. And also you just follow the checklist, right? You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
So like with the baby, we were out with the baby the other day and he had a little blanket to hold on to fall asleep, but he didn't have a blanket to go over the car seat to block out the light for him to fall asleep. So I took my jacket off and I put it over the car seat. And I was like, see, Abby, if you have a second blanket, then he could fall asleep anywhere. She's like, okay, put second blanket and baby
In the
car
car.
seat, like, so now, like that's a checklist of what we're going to take with a diaper bag. Similarly, in how you run your household. So like thinking through, okay, just based on this season of life, and a lot
Mhm.
of it does change even every couple of months. When is the most logical time for us to do laundry? So for me, it's going to be Friday night to Sunday. I don't think about
Yeah.
laundry Sunday night until Friday afternoon. But on the weekend, I'm always like, go change the laundry, change the laundry, change the laundry. Also thinking through like, when do you want to plan out your week, pay your bills, reply to emails? There are a lot of things, the little niggly things that come in through text and email. They don't need to be responded to right away. But if you don't have a consistent time, like on Sunday, I do all of these things,
Hmm.
then it could be like, oh, shoot, it's been 2 weeks. And I never got back to the doctor. I never scheduled that appointment. I didn't refill the prescription. So having like an administration time on your calendar, I call that the Sunday basket time. And then having another one is having a place for information management. We store a lot of things in our head.
Yes.
And so you go, hey, mom, hey, mom, hey, mom. It's like
Yes.
kind of like the original Google. We are the
That's
original
it.
Google.
That's it.
Yes. And so if we could print this stuff out or create some kind of a repository for family members, especially as they approach adulthood and beyond, to go look at the repository before they say, hey, mom, it's going to reduce a lot of decision making on the mom's part and
Hmm.
also create a lot of independence on the rest of the family.
You mentioned a couple of words there that I know is in the book and I thought was fascinating too. It's the Sunday basket. And talk a little bit more about what your thought there is and how that can be the kind of like you said, the collection place, but maybe help start the week off in a more organized way if you have your Sunday basket in place.
Yes, thank you. So the Sunday basket is really your household management headquarters.
Hmm.
It's where you put all of your ongoing projects, bills that need to be paid, ideas that you have, planning for the holidays, things you want to order or return, all of those actionable to-dos that don't need to be done at the moment, but need to be done sometime. And you set aside time and you go through and you do all of those. Usually they're done at a desk and you
Yeah.
empty them out from your Sunday basket, go on the calendar, do calendaring, reply to emails, check your text messages, place all those online orders. Those are the things that I used to do in the moment, and
Hmm.
they would get done. The task would get done, but whatever I wanted to get done for the day didn't get done because I was so busy chasing all of those actionable to-dos
Yeah.
around.
Uh, uh, have you found in the atmosphere that we live in right now, during the COVID years, we became a very work at home kind of a setup, whether you worked for a company or not. And now there's so many of us that have at home businesses and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so the idea of how can I keep myself on task and be structured, because it's pretty easy to just, I'm going to turn on and watch this golf tournament for a little while and I'm going to do this and maybe I'm not going to do any work right now. So working from home, or this remote lifestyle that we have developed as in the workplace, the importance of being much more structured and organized for the very things like you said about when to return an email, when to return a call. Because I have been in that same one. I get a call or an email, and I think, oh, I need to drop what I'm doing and do that. Oh, it's a call, it's an email coming in right now. I need to address that, and now everything's getting backed up. So the importance, certainly in this remote entrepreneurial world we live in, to have that structure and that organization in place.
Yeah. So if you are working from home, doing your housework from home, and living from home, those are three different hats that we wear.
Hmm.
And the working part is actually harder for entrepreneurs than for employees. I think employees get pretty good at saying, all right, I work 9 to 5 and I have a 1 hour lunch break and I'm just not going to even look at that app because
Yeah,
I'm a hourly salaried worker or whatever.
yeah,
Like you have more boundaries just because you're not the entrepreneur. When you're the entrepreneur, there is no off time for
yeah.
work.
You're right.
And I find for myself personally, because I have a lot of household responsibilities that happen during the day, a lot of doctor's appointments for grandchildren and such, where I take a lot of time off for that. I'll then work in the evening or I'll work on the weekend in
Yeah,
order to make up the time. Not that I'm being paid by the hour, but you get the idea.
yeah,
And so I will flex my time. The problem is sometimes we flex ourselves right into a pretzel, right? So we're
yeah,
like, okay, I'll do laundry on Tuesday at 10 and I'll do, the financials of the company at 11 o'clock on a Friday. So the more you can know what hat you're wearing and then just go deep on that. So now I take one Monday a month where I actually do housework for the first half of the day
Mm.
and I don't work because there are so many administration responsibilities as a household manager where I need to actually get someone on the phone call or wait for the repair person or whatever. It just needs to be done during work hours. Maybe I need to do it when the family's not at home because there's always people in my household. And Monday morning is a time when I could do something and
Yeah.
really think about through our financials. So
Right.
that's one way in which I've done it. And so I do it all by calendar blocking on my calendar. So I'll have work things in one color, I'll have household work in a different color, and then I'll have family related things in a third color. And then I have a color for myself. So if I look at my calendar and I don't see any pink time on there, then I'm not getting my needs met. If I don't see any of my family color on there, then maybe I'm not supporting my husband and my daughter as much as I would like to. So I really kind of look at those colors to make sure that I'm hitting everything as best as I can.
And that just seems to me that really hits home as an entrepreneur. There's one thing, this term that we've heard for so many, many years, the work-life balance. And when people are working in a traditional work atmosphere, that seems to be a big deal to them,
Mhm.
like you were just alluding to, that, okay,
Right.
here are my work hours. And once that hits 5 or 5:30, I'm out of here and I'm doing this and that. Not so much the case anymore, the way things are structured, but going back to the point of the importance of that and how, being organized can really become a matter of health. If we are,
Yeah.
it's easy to be kind of on and working all the time. So to be able to talk a little bit about the importance that's how organization will play into that work-life balance and really can help your health wise.
So I had an idea come to me. I just wrote it down while we're talking.
Okay.
So I just got my PhD and I am going to be researching, we can measure anxiety by worry, a scale of worry.
Yeah.
But, as a non-clinic, I'm a researching doctor, not a medical doctor.
Hmm.
So I can't really look at how this impacts depression and things like, well, maybe I could depression, but not clinically.
Yeah.
And as you were talking, I was thinking about this idea. This is a new idea.
Okay. I
New for
love
you,
it.
Brian. New for everyone.
We're
It's
going
a
to
brand
break
new
it
idea.
here on the show.
Yeah. So when you are an employee in a company and you're working 9 to 5 and you have a lot of tasks to do and you make them fit into the time that needs to be done, you also need to do whatever your unique contributing work is.
Yeah.
So let's say that's making sales calls or doing project management or whatever. And so you'll block off that time to do that work. Sometimes, and I'll say this for myself personally as an entrepreneur, there's so many things we have to do. We have to do administrative type tasks, to-do list tasks, but we also have to do our deep work because if we don't do our deep work, then the company doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like if I don't do podcasts, there is no company. So I have to block off that time for that podcast. And one of the things I found successful for me is I will work late one night per week because when I get in the zone, I can record multiple podcasts or I
Yes.
can write multiple chapters of a book. And if I don't have that uninterrupted deep work time, I can't really move the company forward.
Hmm.
Now, with that thought in mind, I'm finding the same at home. I can do laundry, dishes, parent the grandchildren, clean up the closet, do all these things like in little pockets of time all the livelong day, but I don't get any meaningful progress done. So that's why I'm taking this half day on Mondays, one day a month. That's why I do the Sunday basket for 90 minutes to 2 hours every Sunday. That's why I have these blocks on my calendar. They're not just doing the housework like in a condensed time, which it does and saves time, but it is also deeper work. Like when I sit down and do the 2 hours of the Sunday basket, I don't just pay the bills.
Yeah.
I also look at how much money is coming in, where are the holidays coming, where's the other, like I think about our finances and then I pay the bills.
Yeah.
I don't just plan out my week. I think through, okay, what's the work schedule? What's the housework? What are the family needs? What are my needs? Is everything is everything on the calendar? Okay, is everything packed? Have I bought everything I need for the week? Okay, now I'm going to plan my week out on paper. There's a lot of layers I go through as I do that planning, which is much deeper than just checking things off of the list every single week and going from a to-do list. So that deep work, more managerial, CEO-driven work,
Hmm.
really reduces the amount of time you have to spend on housework and or in the business because you're doing the most important things.
Well,
And I
that's
think you feel more like you're contributing then.
yeah, yeah, and that really, I mean, that leads right into. I mean, you kind of answered it there, but if if we take a different perspective, say, for these tasks that we need to do, and like you said, you've blocked them out on different times of the week or the day. But if we look at them and take, like you said, a deeper dive into something like paying bills, it's something that I have, just like you just mentioned, paying the bills, or in my case, a lot of times invoicing my clients. It's got to be done. But if I just keep pushing it to the curb because I got these other things to do, then I realize, oh, I haven't been paid by anybody this month because I haven't invoiced anybody. So going back to that, is that something, if we sit down, certainly as an entrepreneur, and say, all right, I've got all these tasks and I'm going to organize myself, but maybe, like you just said, I'm going to spend a lot more time on this. And I'll just say, in my case, the invoicing. Maybe I discover other opportunities with these clients, or maybe there's other business opportunities that I could explore because I'm looking and thinking, well, I could really do 2 or 3 others here. So is that one thing, is don't look at it as just short 1,000 piles up of tasks, but to take a few on in a deeper way.
Yes, exactly. So I remember before I had a bookkeeper, thank goodness I have a bookkeeper, I would always do it on the last Friday of the month. I
Yeah.
would look through all the expenses, or maybe it was the first Friday of the month. I would look through everything from the last month, categorize it all, making sure all the invoices got paid. But I had the whole day blocked out for that.
Sure.
So sometimes I'd work on updating a spreadsheet or looking at my finances differently. Sometimes I would enroll in a class and, figure out what's the best entity I should be in the future. Like it was all financial related because it was on the calendar. Because I wasn't going from a to-do list. I was going from the role of being the CFO in the business. And we as household managers are running a significant economic enterprise. 68% of US GDP is household spending.
Yeah.
So how household managers spend money is how the world flows. So it is important that we think about more, deeply our economic impact, not only in our household, but also in our communities.
I want to go back. I should have probably maybe started with this, but you have it's a fascinating story, I think, because it really illustrates when we're all wearing so many hats, as a worker, as a caregiver, as a father, parent, whatever it is, a spouse. But I know you said when you reached the age of 40, you had this, moment, this light bulb moment. But before that, you tell a great story in your book about when you were really in a caregiving position for your father and going back and forth and making trips. A pretty funny story in there too about the rats and in the car and what am I going to do? But talk about what that is that we all face when we're trying to juggle all these things, and then finally you get to a point where what's really important.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, we often can be pretty organized and have together what we need to be doing in our life because our responsibilities grow slowly over time. And you add one more thing to your plate and one more thing to your plate. And some of us are blessed by or choose to be parents, and some of us don't. Like some of us don't have children, but we all have parents.
Yeah.
And one day you're going to find out if you're the executor of your parents' will or if you are the power of attorney. And that is what my sister and I found in our 30s. My parents got divorced in my 30s, and then my father became ill. And that's when we realized that, instead of mom and dad taking care of each other, we were taking care of dad. And he lives in my hometown of Akron, Ohio, and I live in Cincinnati now. So it's about a 3.5-hour drive. And once I got the call that he was hospitalized, I drove up there faster than 3.5 hours and got to the hospital. And my sister and I, handled the crisis. And after the second time he was hospitalized, we realized that he wasn't going to recover from his diagnosis. And it was 9 months of, getting the call, racing up there, and then working on the estate. And what I would say to that is, if you have not had to care for your parents or someone else in that capacity yet, you probably will, or you'll at least have siblings that you're working with it.
Right.
And nobody knows what they're doing. None of us know I was in my 30s for crying out loud. I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I went and met with my dad's attorney. We had a pretty robust power of attorney. So there are many different levels of what legal actions you can take on behalf of another person. I had the most liberal power of attorney you could have. I could buy and sell property and all of those things while he was still living. And so my sister and I did do some things to make the estate more manageable once he passed. So you have a power of attorney when the person is living, and then you become the executor of estate once they pass. And you can't have them at the same time.
Right.
You probably know this, but
Yeah.
people listening might not. So I was navigating all of that with my sister. You know, our parents were freshly divorced. It had only been a couple of years. My sister and I were young. I think she was maybe 30 and I was
Yeah.
34, 35. So we weren't that old, really,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things. He was the oldest of 6 children. So we used his siblings as heavy counsel, but we were the power of attorney. Like they didn't make the healthcare or the financial decisions we did.
Hmm.
I'm doing this from 4 hours away, and my kids have their own healthcare
Yeah.
issues going on.
I-
And they're like 4 or 5 years old. Like they aren't like grown or anything. So every time I leave, you know, like a rocket out of the driveway, I'm calling the babysitter, like, get over here, figure out all these medications. Like my husband will be home later. And my husband's like, wait, what? You're the
What's
stay-at-home
going
mom. I don't
on?
know what any of this is. I don't know how to do any of this stuff in this
Yes.
household because I wanted to and was doing everything in the household. And then he all of a sudden was like, hey, you're in charge of all this because there are no systems in place. Just like make sure they live till I get back. It's very stressful. And
Yeah.
so when you're going through these things, and we'll all be in these situations. So
Yes.
this is 9 months. And then after he passed, you know, then he had to sell the house and everything. So let's say a solid year where I'm continually leaving like this, like I've been raptured or something.
Yeah.
And everybody is just standing there going, what do we do? Mom is gone. I don't have good systems at home for them. And now I'm using my father's non-existent systems
Hmm.
because you'll love this, in his file cabinet, he had car catalogs and golf records. That helped me
Yes.
a lot.
Yes.
He didn't have, I never got into his computer. Of course, this was 2000 and something, so it
Yeah.
wasn't as big of a deal back then. But it's this huge responsibility because you know you're going to be planning a funeral. You know you want everybody to be represented well. I wanted my mom to be honored, even though they were newly divorced. You know, you've got all those
Of course.
family relations going on. Luckily, my sister and I are on the same page, and you know, and we only have one fight, which I think is
Oh,
great.
that's remarkable.
But you know, that'll break up.
Yeah.
That'll break up a lot of families. And
Yes.
so now I realize my husband and I are the oldest on both sides of the family. We're listed as the executor on 7 estates.
Oh, wow.
7. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
something
we
to
got a
look
lot of
forward to
sim-
going through again.
Right. Right. So this isn't the first time you're going to do this. And I just say that because this Sunday basket system that I'm talking about, how I manage all my household projects, when you're in a caregiving relationship, you're not settling the estate.
Yeah.
Before people pass, there's often a period of time, sometimes years, where you're managing your household and the other person's household.
Right.
And they want their bills paid their way, and you're going to pay your bills your way. No, you're not. No. If I'm your power of attorney, we're paying bills. Everybody gets a Sunday basket.
That's right.
Sometimes, based on whatever season of life my husband and I are in, there'll be multiple Sunday baskets lined up on the counter. We're like, so-and-so's mail goes here, there. Like we were running 3 at one time. And it just helps you say like, okay, we're paying bills, our bills, their bills, your bills. Okay, now we're going to do like household maintenance, our household, their household, there. And it's a similar system that you can use for all the households, but they're separate entities on your
Yeah.
kitchen counter.
I like the term, and maybe we've kind of umbrellaed this, but you have a term called the productive home solution. 3 specific areas or spaces. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the productive home solution is my program for organizing your entire house. It's what I would have done back in the day when I did in-home organizing,
Yeah.
organize your whole house, all
Yep.
the physical spaces. So when you are really overwhelmed, I say there are 3 spaces I want you to focus on first, above all else. And those are your personal bathroom, bedroom, and closet. And the reason why I want you to do those is because, first of all, are you really having people over? Like, we don't have people over. No one's coming to see the house. So
Right.
don't worry about it.
No.
Right? Second, if your bedroom, bathroom, and closet, and if you share them, your half of the bedroom, bathroom, and closet are organized and you don't have expired products and you've got backups of the lotions that you use and the shampoos and all of that, then even when you're in one of these trying times where you literally are getting 5 hours of sleep a night because you are in service to so many other people, you at least have clothes that fit your body, all the bathroom supplies that you need. Your bedroom is organized and ready for you to go to bed. You're going to bed and waking up in an organized space.
Right.
As the world is just chaotic around you, sometimes even in your own home. And it's a way to really rest and know that your physical body is cared for, because we are going to have many seasons where we're caring for others that is a higher priority than caring for ourselves. But in seasons when you are not in that stretch, really thin times, you need to replenish your closet, your bathroom, your nutrition, your go bag, your diaper bag for yourself is what I call it. So that when you are, going, that you have protein bars and water and your vitamins and your supplements and everything that you need, because you can't care for others if you don't care for yourself. If you're not in good health, and then you have to care for somebody else and you're going to get migraines or, then you get sick, then somebody needs to care for you. You become part of the problem, not part of the solution. And so caring for ourselves is actually a gift to all the people that we care for.
Exactly right. And I like the thought we talking about. You like to come home to a neat and organized thing, but that reminds me. I mean, what is it about the psychological thing when people go on vacation or they're going to be gone for a long time? They clean the house, they organize the house, and you're thinking, well, you're going to be gone for 2 weeks. What does it matter? But there's something about in this organizational thing in the back of it seems like in the back of a person's mind that walking in that door and it's like, oh, everything smells good. It looks good. I'm exhausted from the vacation, so I don't have to do anything. So is that something that, again, another benefit of the organizational route is that it just does something good for you.
Yeah, I think you feel like, you look around and you see, my work is done. Like my work is done. And sometimes our household work won't necessarily be done ever, especially in certain seasons. But you can get to the point where your bedroom, bathroom, and closet are always done. Like you come in, you're like, okay, like almost like you're walking out of the threshold of your bedroom. You're like, okay, I'm going to work. I'm working in the house, but I'm putting my work hat on. But when I walk into my bedroom, I'm off duty.
In those 3 spaces, I mean, I'm fascinated by that because it seems like maybe I'll speak for myself. You think, okay, what do I need to do around the house? Well, I need to get the backyard straightened up, or I need to clean, the garage is a mess. I should go do that. I should whatever. So, but none of that is personal space. And how did you discover that those spaces were really important to take care of before you could be effective for the rest of the household?
Yes, how when people are trying to lose weight or get fit and they'll work with the trainer for a long time. And sometimes trainers will find, if we do the exercise in this order, you actually get the results because they work with so many trainers, so many students. Same with me. I was helping people get organized. And I was good at helping stay-at-home moms get organized because they had the time and the inclination to get organized. But then when I was working with working professionals, they never could get all the way through the program before we started it again. So they were not succeeding in getting their whole house organized.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, is it the order in which we're trying to get organized? Maybe if I rearrange the rooms and how we organize them, I can help them get organized. And so most people, when they're overwhelmed and they're in their getting organized phase of life, they start with, well, let's clean up the kitchen, let's clean up the family room, like you said, let's cut the grass, let's do the garage, and then we'll tackle our project of the weekend. Well, the problem is a lot of times there would be something else happening that weekend, so we wouldn't get to the project of the weekend.
Yeah.
So the next weekend would come. All right, we'll do the kitchen, we'll do the family room, and then we'll get to the project of the weekend. And I was like, okay, the kitchen and the family room are always going to be a mess. The lawn is always going to need to be caught. Yeah. Okay. There's no weekend where that's not going to be the case. So what if we just ignored that and we only did the project of the weekend? So I was like, all right, well, there's some spaces like the storage room. It may take you a couple of weeks to do the storage room. It may take you a couple of months. But once your storage room is organized, it will stay organized forever. Most storage rooms are a bunch of empty boxes, things you don't know what to do with, and broken stuff.
Yeah.
And it does not look like a store. But storage room is a storage. It's a prepaid store that you go check to see if you already own the thing before you go to the real store. That's all we do in a storage room. That's the whole job of a storage room. So in every storage room I've ever done, we put in this plastic ventilated shelving. It'll be great in Texas for you. It's great if it's too hot. It's great if it's damp. It's great anywhere. Lightweight, anybody can carry it. So in the storage room, when you're done, everything is in totes, clear bins on these shelves. You open the door, it looks like a store.
Yeah.
Now, what's in the bins changes over time, but you literally can move. The military uses this. My military customers, shout out to you guys. They get their storage room done. They put the lids on the bin and they're PCSing all over the place. These bins go all over.
Yeah.
And when they get to their new house, it's set up instantly because you just have to put up the shelving, put the bins on it. It's organized, but it takes a couple of months to do it.
Yeah.
After you get it organized, though, you won't have to reorganize it. You just have to maintain it, maybe 45 minutes every couple of months. So once that's done, it's done. Same with the file cabinet. Once
Yeah.
you take a summer and you go through the file cabinet, you get rid of everything, you put them in the organized 365 binder. So they're actually in Information Britannica versus the Google of you.
Yes.
It takes a whole summer to do it, but then the paper is organized and we know where a paper is. And then we just need to maintain it. So when we do those systems that way, then you get to the next weekend, cut the grass, clean up the family room, clean the kitchen. Oh my gosh, we're organized. We're at a higher level of base organization because these hidden spaces are organized. Now, most people won't start with the paper or the basement first because those are really big lifts.
Yeah.
We've never had those organized before. We don't think we can do that.
No.
And we don't really know where to start.
Yeah.
But you know how to organize your closet. Your closet has been organized before. It's just gotten unorganized because everybody and their mother on the internet will show you how to organize a closet.
Yes.
So start with those 3 spaces. Give yourself a quick win. Start going to bed organized, waking up organized, and then block out a couple of weekends and start tackling some of these harder areas. But once you get those harder areas done, they will stay organized. That's how you get all the way organized.
How have you seen I guess the people that you've worked with? You know, I'm fascinated by you discovered that this could be something you could do professionally, organizing for people when you get your life organized. But have you seen the people that you've worked with, their lives, happiness, joy change when they see that their home is organized? They've discovered they have more space that they didn't realize that they had. But the changes that you've seen that are a little different than just, okay, that's square, that's organized, but their lives are changed by it.
Oh, it is so humbling. The things that women do when they have capacity and time will blow your mind.
Mm.
And I feel that I felt this way, and I've heard other customers say the same thing. We as women feel like we need to get our homework done. Our home is a reflection on us. Until we can get it organized for this phase of life, we don't have permission to go out and do something else. Or it's just we do go do the other thing that we're uniquely gifted and created to, but we have this nagging weight of like, oh, but I'm shirking my responsibility.
Ah.
The household isn't the way it needs to be. So once they get their home organized, the information organized, and they have this increased time and capacity, it is amazing. It is amazing the thing that the women would do. I have so many stories. And a lot of it is like spending more time with their children, their
Yeah.
spouse, their grandchildren, starting a foundation. And then also really huge things that benefit all of society.
And it's really not too late to start at any point of life, right? I mean, no matter what the garage or the storage room looks like, even though that may be at a point of like, this is just too overwhelming. I don't even know where to start. I mean, you just try to encourage that, well, let's start here and then we can go to the next spot then and go from
Yep.
there.
Never too late to start, because if you don't do it, somebody has to do it. Like somebody's got to organize all the stuff after you pass. So
Yeah.
a lot of times people will actually start with organized 365 when they're caring for a parent or they're settling a parent's estate and they have to go through this and they're like, oh, heck no, this isn't going to happen in my
Yeah.
house now. Like then they'll go back over into their own house. And so I find that while we do have some younger members in our audience, the preponderance of people are like 40 to 70.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the ones, I've been through that, to organizing my parents' stuff afterwards in the aftermath. So if they could learn this early on and maybe put things in place, it seems like it would be very beneficial. So the escaping the quicksand, it's not too, if you take the right steps, right, you can get that out of the quicksand and get organized.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, this is the book, Escaping Quicksand. Some fascinating tips in there to organize your home, your life. As you said, Lisa, it really changes your life, whatever stage you're in, I know, whether it's caretaking later on life for someone or getting early on. But fascinating tips. I appreciate you sharing some wonderful insight to us and being on the show today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks very much. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Built for This. Be sure to follow Built for This on your favorite listening platform and share it with a friend. Join me on the next episode when I will share entertaining stories of inspiration, encouragement, and purpose-driven experiences. What are you built for? Built for This is produced and recorded by Heart Media DFW.